Welcome back, everyone, to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me again today for the second time again, no Andy. I'm not going to tell you where he is, but he's having fun with the family. We might see him tomorrow. We'll see. Fingers crossed, everyone. Say your prayers or do your chants. We might have an Andy drop in for Win Bet Wednesday. But for today and for the rest of the week, Mr. Rooney, how's it going? I know baseball is a little tough. You're 1-2, and without really one inning, you were looking pretty good otherwise.
I was okay with we hit on the Giants at the pretty good price there at the -1.5. And yeah, the Mets and Marlins, if there's not a first inning grand slam, that game goes under pretty easily. So I'm okay with it. Not my best effort, but I can live with that. I think I got some bets that'll bounce back today. We got a White Sox game that's more of my area of expertise, so hopefully that gets a little bit more successful today.
I like that. It's good to know that we're going to be here in your backyard as a big White Sox fan. I don't know. It feels like you should just have a White Sox hat on every time that you're on, but we'll work on that. We will have a guest today. We're going to talk about some Olympics, check in with our buddy Drew. And if you look on there in the countdown, we're going to circle back to some NBA futures. Drew has a couple things he wants to talk to us about, but he needs a minute. He's finishing up something and he'll be here shortly. So for now, we will go back to Matt. What do you got for us today? And he said the White Sox are playing, so you got that, but it looks like there's a few other things here. Why don't you break it down for the people?
White Sox are at home today against Kansas City. There's a lefty on the mound. The White Sox have historically, the last couple seasons, been very good against them. Andrew Vaughn, their rookie this year, probably the favorite for AL Rookie of the Year right now. He's been crushing lefties this year. I believe he's got an OPS right up about 1,000, and he hit July was his best month of the year. He OPS'd right just under 900. I have him to collect 2+ hits today. He's had multi-hit games, and I think like 4 of his last 10 outings. He's been crushing lefties. Tony La Russa against lefties has been having him higher up in the lineup, hitting 4th or 2nd most of the time. So I would expect to see him kind of farther up in the lineup, which will mean probably 4 chances, maybe even 5 if the Sox are connecting. So Andrew Vaughn, as he's matured, I like him in this spot. 2+ hits at +240. I think that's fairly good value for a guy that's probably giving you the best at bats on the White Sox right now of anybody in that lineup, which again, saying a lot for a rookie. I took Adam Engel to homer and the White Sox to win. Adam Engel, since he's come off the IL, he started 22 games. He's got 6 homers. He's OPSing around 930. He's been hitting lefties. He's been hitting everyone pretty well this year. But in limited starts against lefties, he's got 2 home runs, and I like those odds of him to connect and run into one. He's hit Kansas City pretty well this year and throughout his career. So Adam Engel against the lefty.
I was going to say the lefty thing against the White Sox, that's still going on. I don't follow a lot of baseball, and I know about that.
It's not. They're
just still out there beating up everybody.
Last year was ridiculous. I think they legitimately went 15-0 or 16-0, something like that. They won like 19 straight against left-handed starters running into this year. That streak naturally came to an end because that wasn't going to live on. But they're still hitting lefties pretty good. Now the guy going for the Royals tonight, Chris Bubich, has not been great all season overall, but has actually pitched pretty well against the White Sox. That said, they're at home. That ballpark is good it's a good hitter's ballpark. I like their chances of a couple guys running into one tonight. Excuse me. And I would have taken the Sox at the -1.5. I just didn't really see the value there at -130, especially coming off not playing too great against the Royals. Dylan Cease being on the mound as well. You don't really know what you're going to get out of your starter. It's kind of a mixed bag. I have the Phillies plus money. I believe it's +105. There you go. -1.5 against the Nats tonight. Zach Wheeler's on the mound for them. He's been an ace all year. He's living up to every dollar of that new contract he signed. Really, this is more of a Nats fade, though. Patrick Corbin's on the mound, and he's been absolutely awful this year. I believe his ERA is around like 5.7. And if you could believe it, his expected ERA is actually worse than that. I think his expected ERA is around 5.8 or 5.9. So you got a seller in the Nats with a pitcher who's really struggling on the mound. You got a team contending for that NL East with the Mets kind of struggling a little bit. The Phillies might smell a little blood. They got their ace on the mound, plus money at -1.5 against a pitcher struggling as much as Corbin, especially when you got your ace on the mound. I really like that value in those odds. And then the Brewers, I think it's gone. The odds have worsened a little bit here, but I did see this morning at -108. For them to cover -1.5 against the Pirates. They've done that in their last 4 games against the Pirates. I think they're 8-2 in their last 10. Adrian Hauser's on the mound. He's had a fine year, but he's really dominated the Pirates, and this is as much of a fade the Pirates play, who I can't even remember the name of their starter, but it's somebody who's thrown 16 innings this year and his ERA is up in the sevens. So I like the Brewers playing really good baseball against a bad team at almost even money to cover that 1.5 when they've done it the last 4 games against the Pirates. I like those odds. I'm going to take it.
No, I watched Total Recall yesterday, so it's good to have another Hauser to think about this afternoon or tonight. That'll be pretty good. I like these. I like it. You're back in the Phillies. I'm a Phillies homer. I'll definitely be playing that.
That was partially for you, Alex.
Oh, you're sweet. And I'm a sucker for a bad parlay. So I think, Phillies, Brewers, White Sox parlay, how does that lose?
I like it. The -1.5 parlays, that's where you really make the bang for your buck here in baseball. You're getting all those around even money. I like it. I think you roll the dice on it. That probably pays you about plus 600 or so.
We'll put a pin in that. That might be good for, say, a free bet you might have if you wanted to use later, but we'll circle back on that.
That's a tease.
That is. So baseball, pretty solid yesterday. Tennis, not so much. We got pretty close on our totals, but ended up having some quick 2-set matches. We'll try to do a little bit better today. We are back, again, 3 tournaments for the women this week, all smaller events as we start the hard court season, finish up on clay. We'll start with some matches here. We've got a total and a money line. These will be early tomorrow morning in Cluj-Napoca. Again, I haven't done my work. It's in Romania, folks. It's the last clay tournament for the year, especially the last bigger one. So you've got a couple players who are looking for points on clay. It's a surface that can be really comfortable for some and not for others. And, you want to win matches, not just to make money, not just to kind of pay your bills for the year, but you earn ranking points and it makes it easier to enter tournaments next year and things like that. So Kai Yuvan and Anna Karolina Schmedlova, 2 players that, are kind of fighting to hold on to their top 50, top 100 rankings kind of here. I expect a really competitive match. We're getting 21. I have this at 21.5. And honestly, it would probably be a juicy 21.5 if it was hanging it myself. So over 21, -115, -120 is fine. If you have over 21.5 standard juice, that's probably okay too. Thought about the 2.5 sets, but didn't really like the conversion there. It's a funny market. At certain times of the year, it seems like they have a correlated to totals. Sometimes of the year they don't. So putting that one aside, we'll go just over 21 there. And then a player I like to bet on quite a bit, Miss Irina Maria Barra. She's been pretty solid for us, especially as an underdog. Got her at plus 128. Have this match pretty close to a pick 'em. I'd probably have her plus 100, plus 105. So play this down to probably plus 115. There's still some solid numbers out there. She is playing Kristina Kokova, a solid player, looked good in her first match, but I think that Kokova is getting a little too much credit here. She most recently beat Barra in Gdynia. You might remember Andy trying to pronounce that about a week ago. So I think, again, the market kind of overreacts sometimes in tennis in some of these head-to-head situations, especially if it's recent and especially if it's on the same surface. That match closed right around a pick'em, and now, we're looking at Barra right around plus 125 or so. I think there's some solid value on Irina Maria here, so we'll take her as a dog. And then this last one here, San Jose. This will actually be, I think, tomorrow afternoon, so you've got a little time, and I might end up doing something with her money line here. But Anna Konju, a qualifier, she is someone who, had to take a little bit of a break due to some injuries and some things, is finally starting to get back to some form where she was like a top 50, top 25 player, someone that we all really liked about 3 years ago, is really starting to get back to it. She is laying only 3 games against Allison Risk, who played a very ugly match yesterday against Coco Vandeweghe. And to be honest, Coco Vandeweghe might have been pretty hardly mushed there. We don't like to talk about that, but there was a certain person who went very hard on Coco, and it's generally not good for Allison. So she makes it through here to the second round. Happy to fade her with Anna Konju minus the 3 games there. And that's it for tennis. And I think you hear some chuckles there, folks. I think Dan was nice enough to unmute Drew there so you could hear him laugh. Welcome, Mr. Dinsick. How are you? It's so nice to have you back on Brown Bag Bets.
Hey man, just because I was betting on risk, you don't have to call me out like that. No, I'm just kidding.
No, not you.
I'm just kidding. I haven't been betting much at women's tennis lately, but I love your Anna Konju look. She does look freaking dangerous right now.
She really is playing some fantastic tennis, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Olympics. We're getting close to the end. I think things wrap up, Saturday, Sunday?
Yep. Sunday in Tokyo, which will be Saturday for us.
All right. And we got a bunch of stuff left. We had some athletics. I was actually watching the women's 200 meters this morning. We didn't really talk about it on the show, but Christine Mboa sneaks a second place finish in the 200 meters. She was like 50-1, 60-1 to medal, something like that. Somebody to keep an eye on. They kept her out of the 400. But we're back here. We kind of want to check in with you, Drew. How's it going so far? How's been the first week and a half or so of the Olympics been for you?
Well, the medal markets have been a massive sweat, but thankfully the swimming week 1 broke in my favor in pretty much every way I had hoped. I was high on the Australian women swimmers coming into this. They come out with, I think, 8 gold medals total. It was a really solid performance from that crew of women. The backstroker winning both golds. I had her in both of those events. That was awesome. Titmus coming through in the 200 free. Ledecky came through for me in the 800 and the 1500. So overall, the swimming was outstanding. And I honestly, I'm just happy that people are so actively taking bets on this stuff. I feel like in 2016, it was a little tough to get money down on Olympics. This time around, it has been no problem. And that has made it a lot more fun to watch and to bet on and to handicap. The medal markets, though, have been a heavy duty sweat. Australia, only true winner that we know is a winner. Korea, only true loser that we know is a loser. You may say, well, they could do great. They could get 6 more and some random stuff. No, they can't get 6 more. It's over. South Korea over is dead. Russia's. Yeah, well, no, actually, no. Their archery was fine. It was really the Taekwondo team that let us down. They took 6 athletes into the 8 Taekwondo events, and 6 were all live for gold, and they got 0. They got 0 gold medals in Taekwondo, and I had them chalked up for 3 or 4. And then outside of that, there's been some disappointment here and there for South Korea. I'm not saying that it's the Japanese judges that are, keeping them out of, gold medal here, but I'm not saying it. Realistically though, that was, in hindsight, I wish I could have that one back because I didn't have a ton of margin on that. Russia over 17.5 looks very, very, very good. They have actually, let's go ahead and call that one a winner. Honestly, they have 2 guarantees in synchronized swimming coming up, 2 guarantees in rhythmic gymnastics. So you really just need 1 more. And they have some heavy favorites in boxing and wrestling, as well as, potential for a couple other surprises. So Russia will get there. USA will not get there. That one is going to take a miracle.
Looking low.
It's not looking good. Some of the reason for playing that over was the track and field team was expected to really kind of come through strong in week 2 and really help us, come home with a vengeance. Track and field team has been disappointing, man. They have really let us down in a couple of spots. They've been doing an excellent job of getting silvers, as you mentioned. We're getting silvers like nobody's business. We might set a country record for silver medals. But it's not looking great for golds for us, which leaves us with 2-2 pending Japan. And the Japan under 27.5 is going to come down to the last day of this Olympics, and it is going to be a brutal sweat. As we currently look at what is left, they have 1 likely, maybe 2 in run walking. If you haven't ever seen run walking, it is if you're laughing because you think run walking looks as ridiculous as it sounds, you don't even know. It is so ridiculous. They literally, the rules are you can't have both feet, you can't have 1 foot, you can't have more than 1 foot off the ground. So your heel has to touch before your other heel can pick up. So it's this insane cadence of not quite running, but and Japan for whatever reason has 2 men who are the world's best at it. So I can already tell you I'm going to be up in the middle of the night watching 50 kilometers of Japanese run walking on Saturday night or whatever. So this is going to go sideways for me in a hurry. They could potentially get another one in boxing. They have a likely gold medal in cycling. I have them as only 50-50 in baseball. That if baseball breaks our way and Japan does not get that gold medal, that'll be huge. Similarly, karate, they're expected to win 2, but the way that the judging has gone in a lot of this fighting has felt a little home cooking-y. Not like outright cheating on behalf of them necessarily, but like they're definitely getting the benefit of the doubt in a lot of the judged events. And I guess that's what you get when you host the Olympics. You get you get a little bit of home cooking from the judges and some of the weird events there. So I'm nervous about karate. If we could get through that, they're giving out 8 gold medals in karate, guys. Like this is gonna be tough.
With judges. This is why I don't bet boxing or any of that stuff. You can't trust a sport with judges. They usually have the worst seat in the house. We're all sitting at home watching 20 different TV angles, and they're sitting there feeling whatever the way they want. Ugh, what a mess.
Yeah. But
honestly,
if Japan,
just have me at run walking. That's what I'm all in on run walking.
Are there judges for run walking? Do they have
so
to?
Here's
no?
You know what the beauty is? There are a lot of DQs. I'm going from memory here from like many Olympics ago, the last time I actually cared about road walking. But I think you get 3 penalties. Like if they see you with both feet off the ground at the same time, you get a penalty. And if you get like 3 penalties, you get DQ'd. That's in the back of my head. Those are the rules of run walking, because there are some live metrics up while they're showing them where it's like this woman's got 2 penalties. She picks up another one. She's DQ'd. There for sure is that kind of an element to it. But
it just sounds kind of exciting.
It's insane.
It sounds like electric content.
And in Rio, there were some fireworks of a gastrointestinal nature with the gold medalist that you don't want to YouTube. Don't look it up on YouTube. It probably is not on YouTube. Hopefully it's not on YouTube.
That lesson's not.
But yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds in every way. So the skateboarding, amazingly, Japan has won 2 golds already. They're in line for a 3rd. I can't believe it. Climbing, they have a likely one. How do we not sweep skateboarding? We invented it, for crying out loud. I get
surfing. People have been surfing, but we invented skateboarding.
Yes, we did.
We were setting the dream team.
I don't even think I don't even know if we won the medal that Japan didn't. We may get shut out of skateboarding while they somehow, where's Tony Hawk when you need him, man?
That's what I was saying. Who's in charge now?
Yeah, seriously.
Find that person.
So yeah, our skateboarding program letting us down. Japan might get another one there. Sport climbing is this new event, and apparently the leading market leader in sport climbing right now is Japanese, and then they have a wrestling favorite as well. So at this point, the plan is literally I have to kind of go through event by event and find the 2-to-1-ish shots that might be the spoilers and get money down on those as sort of a middle hedge, right? What needs to happen here, if everything goes chalk, this comes in at 27. The total was 27.5. So the under is barely makes it if chalk prevails. So I have to go through and kind of find a couple of the surprise ones that are in the plus 200, plus 300 range, try to shoot for those, and then hope a couple of the chalk don't come through. And it's been a very underdog friendly Olympics. We had the women's road race. The winner was 500 to 1. The Austrian math teacher won the women's road cycling race at 500 to 1. There's an 18-year-old Tunisian swimmer won the 400 free. He was not lined. They did not put up a price for him because they did not think he was going to make the final. So he was effectively infinity to 1. Those are just 2 examples of just what has been a really, really, really dog-friendly Olympics. So at this point, I'm thinking shoot for the middles here. Grab a couple of long shot prices for the Japanese athletes that are on the margins. Hope that those are the ones that come through. Meanwhile, some of the favorites go down because, like I said, there's literally 0 margin for error here. The ideal scenario was Japan wins only 6 or 7 golds in judo. They won 9. It's if we had a 3 or 4 goal lead at this point, we could shoot for some of these favorites to win and hit that middle. But this is judo week 1 really went sideways on us, and if you've watched any judo, it's not a real sport. It's not a real sport.
It's tough. It's hard. There's a lot of different fighting things. I don't know what I was watching earlier. We put on something. It was literally the first night I was sitting watching with my wife, and it seemed to be the entire point of the sport was to kick each other, but not really. Kind of softly, push each other back with your feet, and then they would wrap and split up. and there was a lot of going on and not really any points. It was very confusing. So, again, any sport that comes down to judges.
Yeah. No bueno. So let's talk track and field, though, because that one's not one that comes down to judges. There's a couple looks I have on my card here as we come down the home stretch that I think are worth sharing. Men's 200 is going to be contested tomorrow in the early morning hours. I'm going to take a shot on our guy, Noah Lyles. He's the favorite right now at plus 225. He was playing with a little bit of fire in the semis. Ran a little bit of a kind of a confident race, like, I know I'm gonna win. He was mugging, he was cruising down the finish, and two guys caught him, and it was a photo finish. He ends up with third, even though they all three had the same time, and so he did not automatically qualify for the finals. He had to get in via time qualification, which puts him in a little bit of a disadvantage because he is now at an inside lane instead of a middle lane, and for those reasons, you're getting a really good price on him. If he runs his best time, if he runs his trials time, he's going to beat this field by a few tenths of a second. So Noah Lyles at plus 225 is a good look in the men's 200.
That's what it was.
So that was fun. That'll be fun tomorrow morning.
Yeah, the track stuff, these are kind of my favorite.
Yeah.
Track's been pretty early, like around 7, 8 in the morning.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, that sounds right to me. It's like I want to say it's 8 o'clock East Coast time. It'll be early for me, but I'll be up for it. It'll be a fun one. The decathlon, heptathlon start today. Those are fun. Decathlon, you have a Canadian favorite right now in Damian Warner. He's not super impressive in terms of a favorite. He is only like his best ever score did come this year, but it is a good 200 points off of the world record, which is set by the second choice, Kevin Meyer. Kevin Meyer from France, world record holder, largely based on the fact that some of the kind of off track event, some of the field events, he can get higher scoring, totals in, pole vault, high jump, the random throws. He can get. He has a higher ceiling there, which is how he set the world record. And he had a poor 2019 World Championships, which is why the betting market is so cool on him. But he looks good. He's been outwardly talking about how much he loves the country of Japan and how long he's been looking forward to this. He's for whatever reason, he's like a Japan culturophile. He's just very, very comfortable, very happy here. I think we see a very solid performance from him. So I backed him at plus 150 to win the decathlon, which starts tonight. And then in the women's heptathlon, which also starts tonight, I think the favorite is underpriced. Nafi Thiam from Belgium is 400 points clear of the next highest scorer here in terms of lifetime best. She is the 2016 reigning Olympic gold medalist. She won the event at the 2017 World Championships. And the second choice in the betting market is Katarina Johnson Thompson of Great Britain. I'm not bought into her being healthy. She looks like she has a pretty serious Achilles injury that's going to really affect her ability to do the runs and the jumps. So I don't even know if she finishes the heptathlon, to be honest. So I like the favorite in this one decent amount. Nafi Thiam, not TM like the tennis player, but Thiam with an A, pronounced similarly. And she's at about minus 150 at a couple shops.
Like that. Something to do while I get up in the morning. That Lyles would be perfect. I was looking forward to watching the decathlon, so that saves me from having to bug you for some stuff. Excellent. Any other Olympic stuff you want to touch on before we get to some NBA futures? Because you and I were going back on two things yesterday.
The star of week 2 of the Olympics, for me at least in my betting account, has been Lisa Carrington. Lisa Carrington is a New Zealand flatwater kayaker, and she looks like the Terminator. She's nasty good. And she did the 200-meter sprint in the flatwater kayak last night. She beat the field this is a dead sprint. She beat the field by a mile. This was like if Usain Bolt finishes the 100-meter and there's no one else in the picture. It was that big of a gap, impossibly large gap for her winning this sprint. And it was, she doubled up. She then goes with the 2-woman flatwater kayak, wins gold in that, basically dragging a much lesser athlete across the finish line first. And she plays, she has the 500 coming up as well. I don't see how anyone in this field can come close to competing with her. She wins her heat today. She gets into the finals, which will be tomorrow. And I think she gets a little bit of a rest day. I think she's going to come away with 3 golds for the country of New Zealand in this Olympics, which is pretty exciting. I bet into her earlier when her number was like in the minus 280, 270 range. It's gotten steamy on her. She's some places in like the 350, 400 now. Realistically, she should be like minus 1,000 for the women's 500.
Now I have a dumb question. So it's flat water as opposed to sparkling water kayak. Do they have kayaks? Are they putting kayaks in pools? Like are these kayaks in giant pools or something? Is that what they mean by flat water? Or like
the flat water is the same course that they do the rowing. It's like long, straight marine stadium. Long straight away. Yeah. The sparkling water kayaking is in a pool. I'm not joking. It's in a pool. They construct a pool that has man-made rapids, and they have to go down in their kayak through the man-made rapids, and then go through gates like in skiing. And then some of the gates you have to go through forward. Some of the gates you have to go past and come back up and go through. Okay. And if you touch the gate, you get a penalty. If you miss the gate, you get a massive penalty. So there's a very a specific strategy of how you navigate the rapids for the they call it slalom.
This is fascinating.
Now that you bring this one up,
that is a much better answer than I expected.
Really difficult.
Those are all in the books, by the way. If you have like an on-demand Olympics channel or whatever, you can go watch that stuff. And I made some money on that one too. Australia's I can't remember if it was Jessica Fox, somebody Fox from Australia was the clear favorite in there. She had a bad qualifying; her price got way too low, and so she was a good bet in that one. So go watch Australia and Fox. She helped us get that Australia golds home, and she was in the sparkling water kayaking.
All right, now before we wrap up here, we did want to talk some NBA futures, and you are my guest, so I'll let you go first. There was one number you saw that you've been looking at that you wanted to maybe ask me my thoughts about. We got the list up here again. Who was it that stuck out to you?
Okay, well, in 24 hours, my thoughts have completely flipped on this, and for one reason only. I liked the Bucks at 9-1. Just given the relative prices between the Bucks and the Nets, I think the market is real confident in this Nets team that has a lot of injury question marks for me. Basically, if you look at the board right now, Nets, Lakers, Warriors, Sixers, all huge injury question marks. Are these teams going to stay healthy in a season that is compressed right up against another full season? Like you saw what happened when they put a bubble season up against a shortened season, right? What happens now when you put this compressed season right up against a normal season? I think injuries are going to be a massive issue, question mark problem for the 2021-22 campaign. And the Nets, Lakers, Warriors, and Sixers all rely heavily on their top talent that has not shown an ability to stay healthy for a full campaign, especially lately. So those, I think there's risk in all of those guys, which left me with the Bucks and the Suns as, should these prices be a little bit shorter? Now the Bucks last night, they let PJ Tucker go to the GD Heat. And if you remember that Bucks Nets series, PJ Tucker was kind of the most important player, I thought, for the Bucks, because he locked down Kevin Durant in a couple of those games and turned them from losing by 30 to, competitive and getting a couple of squeaky wins there early in that series. So the fact that they let PJ Tucker walk was a heartbreaker. I haven't played it yet. I'm glad. Now I really don't know what to do. But what's the case for the Nets being priced in the 3-1 range?
Yeah, in terms of the Bucks, I'm curious to see what they do the year after a championship. Like you said, losing Tucker is big, but we'll see how they put it together. I agree with you kind of in general about the injury concerns, but I wonder if, last year being so bad and this year just being better, that last year is kind of our worst case scenario. And if I go back and look at the Nets, you take basically the worst case scenario for them, and at the end of the year, they still look like the best team. I was incredibly heartened by how Kevin Durant looked. I thought for moments there, he looked probably like the best player in the NBA. Like if you had to pick somebody and you were drafting of everybody at that point, you're taking him. And I have a feeling it might look that way this season. I mean, it's really incredible. There was a lot of doubts from me last year. If you heard me anywhere, I talked up and down about how I was concerned about specifically his ability to recover from all those Achilles injuries. He looks pretty good. He's played well in the Olympics. So I think he looks solid. I think that James Harden will be in much better shape this year. As long as you kind of have those two guys, you're in pretty good shape. And Kyrie Irving, he likes to take vacations every once in a while, but he doesn't really get hurt. He's kind of always around, and hopefully they have him engaged. My biggest concern there, honestly, is their ability to refill the bench. You go back and look, Jeff Green's already gone. A guy like Bruce Brown will probably leave and take a contract. We'll see if Blake Griffin maybe wants to come back on a one-year deal, something like that. But you still got Joe Harris. You still have those three guys. I love their draft, being able to get Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe. I thought was really fantastic, not just for assets, but those guys are going to play. They're going to get minutes, and I think they fit on that team. So I'm looking at 3-1 here. It's less than that at a lot of other places, to be perfectly honest. Part of the reason this caught my eye is because they're down to plus 200, plus 225 other spots, and I just don't see this number ever getting bigger. You talked about in the deep dive, Drew, grabbing the Tampa Bay Bucks to win the NFC Championship at 3-1, and I kind of thought this had a lot of parallels to that, where the Nets are 3-1. It's probably only going to get lower unless somebody really gets injured, and I think you're going to feel pretty good at the end of the year if you have those three guys mostly healthy with 3-1. So, what say you?
It's a fair point, especially if they are the ones that dodge the injury bug, and the Lakers, Warriors, Sixers, because the right now in a 7-game series at full strength, I would make the Nets minus 200 against the Bucks ish. So you're in pretty decent shape there, considering the Bucks let PJ Tucker go to freaking Miami. I can't believe it. Miami also. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, your Nets 3-1. If they go on, we are taking this season seriously tour. If Harden is 100% healthy, although it's not like there's not a lot to do in New York City, man. Expecting Harden to all of a sudden be in shape this year may be a little bit of a tough ask. So I don't know. It's
he's not going to be in worse shape than he was last year.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah. It's I still that. Maybe it's just because they burned me. I had them a pretty decent chunk on them against the Bucks in that series, and I was pretty happy after 2 games. And to see it go sideways, and Kyrie Irving, is he always available? He wasn't really there for me when I needed him this time. So I don't know. It's still
that does sound pretty bitter.
I'm still dealing with some things.
I'll keep thinking about it. It's something I go back and forth on. I got to tie up some capital for a while. It is only 3-1. Like you said, if KD goes down or Harden goes down, I feel a lot worse about that. And almost at the same time, though, having those 3 guys is sort of like an injury hedge. It's a whole thing.
You can at least wait until the Olympics are over. Make sure KD makes it through unscathed.
That's true. Maybe we'll do that because there's nothing better than an indecisive segment on the sports betting show. So maybe the Nets 3-1, maybe the Bucks 9-1. We're feeling picky. Any other thoughts before we wrap and give a shout out to our sponsors?
I guess specifically on the Bucks aspect of this and the market entry kind of a deal. We've seen it in the past where a team like the Warriors wins their first title, and the NBA as a whole doesn't really embrace them as worthy champions, right? And what does that do to you as a team? You come out and you play the first couple months of the season like it's championship deciding basketball, and you're like, we're going to light this league on fire and remind them that we were worthy champions, and this is an MVP type of campaign for Giannis, and you don't have a chance against us in the playoffs. And then, you fire all your bullets too early and then you lose to the Nets in the playoffs. But, in terms of market pricing, that 9-1 could get a lot shorter.
I think that you could wait till you see the schedule.
That's a good point.
And what I would hope is, they're going to come out. They're the champion. Hopefully they get the Nets night one or the Lakers night one. Somebody where Giannis has that date circle on his calendar and he just continues to go nuts and try to focus on that. And then it gets easy, right? You want that big game. They come in. That's really intense. It's got a playoff atmosphere. And then about a 15 to 20 game stretch where you're hoping we're like, all right, they're going to be, 15-2 through 17 games, something like that. And then maybe you grab it. So I like where your head's at, but I think I'm going to wait to see the schedule because I don't know in this world where the Lakers continue to build excitement and the Nets number keeps coming down. I mean, there's some 8-1s. There's still some 9-1s here.
Yeah.
If you see that really getting down to like 7, even 6.
I mean, if it's anything like the 2015-16 Warriors, that team, that was the 73-9 team, right? And they had an axe to grind. Like they had a point to prove. They were going to teach, prove to the rest of the league that they were worthy of the title that they just won. And what did they start? Didn't they start like an all-time insane?
Yeah, they had a huge win streak to start or something after the first game, and that's what I'm thinking. If the schedule looks easy for the Bucks, I'm with you. They could do that. But
They went 24-0.
I think this number will be around. Yeah,
they went out 24-0. Oh yeah, that's right. They were 29-1 as you got into like New Year's. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, that's probably a once in a lifetime thing we see that. But the whiff of that narrative is in the air of some of these other teams, saying a lot, the disrespect for Giannis as being actually as good as he just was. Like there's a little bit of that in the air.
I think I'll have a Giannis MVP ticket, but yeah, we'll see. We'll put a pin in that. We'll definitely let you know if we bet that. Like I said, I think I'm going to wait for the schedule release because I like where your head's at. If they have that kind of hard start, soft start kind of situation, we'll see how it goes. But
great point.
Thank you very much, Drew, for joining us. And thank you, of course, to our sponsors, WynnBET. Make sure that if you're in a WynnBET state, sign up. You get the risk-free bet. It's up to $500, I believe, still up to $1,000 in Michigan. And if you really want to double down on the value, folks, take a screenshot, send it to the BETSPERTS Twitter account, and you get a YETI. And I'm not someone who generally likes this kind of stuff. I have one now. It's fantastic. It can't get over how useful it is to have something that keeps things both so hot and so cold.
And the same one this morning. I've had both of them in
incredible.
Here. Keeping it hot and cold.
You get the free bet. You get the YETI. All these good things. Make sure you do that. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. We'd love some likes and reviews and all that good stuff. Andy isn't here, but it really helps him. He really sleeps better at night when he gets more thumbs up on the YouTube page. So thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow.